So it is important in times like these to have a distraction. And that's why I want to personally extend my gratitude to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively.
He claims she tried to take over his movie because she has a history of saying, okay, I'll be the star, but what I secretly want to do is direct it and edit it and produce it. I want all the roles for me and only me. I want full control because I am a controlling bully. That Justin Baldoni, ultimately, by the time they got to the premiere, was mandated by Blake Lively to spend the night in the basement away from his co-stars and didn't even get to see the final cut of his own movie because Blake Lively insisted that she be the one to approve it.
He and 9 other plaintiffs, including his publicists, have brought a $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times, essentially alleging them of libel and false light invasion of privacy. So Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, he told BBC's partner CBS that the newspaper aided and abetted a smear campaign designed to revitalise Lively's floundering.
And I'm really excited. But as I've gotten a little bit older, I'm lucky that I get to work in this industry, and particularly incredibly fortunate that I get to work in it this long. But I really want to work with people that are either immensely talented or people that I love and that I'm genuinely best friends with. And unfortunately, Hugh does not qualify as either of those. But I am excited because I'm a Logan fan. So. And then, that covers Will Ferrell as well. That's a guy that my entire life, I feel.
In a new amended complaint and the ongoing legal battle, Lively's legal team saying the experiences of Miss Lively and others were documented at the time they occurred starting in May of 2023. Going on to write, Mr. Baldoni acknowledged the complaints in writing at the time.
Dear Judge Lyman, as counsel for Wayfair Studios LLC, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarowitz, It Ends With Us Movie LLC, Melissa Nathan, the Agency Group PR LLC, and Jennifer Abel, collectively the Wayfarer parties, we write to advise the court of an issue that the Wayfarer parties wish to address at the upcoming conference on Monday, February 3rd, 2025.
Blake Lively was once the embodiment of Hollywood grace, a charismatic A-lister with big-budget films, a high-profile marriage, and the adoration of fans worldwide. She had a golden reputation, until one night, in front of a massive live audience, it all began to unravel. What started as a bold accusation against her It Ends With Us co-star and director Justin Baldoni morphed into a scandalous legal battle that turned the industry against her. In a matter of months, Lively went from admired starlet to late-night punchline, her once flawless image decaying under the glare of public scrutiny. And the moment it truly fell apart wasn't just a private fiasco. It happened on stage, in front of the entire world.
About a month ago, this really hit home with me too. About a month ago, I was sitting in traffic and I was just jamming These Dreams by heart. Oh. I was killing it in the car. And there was just this busload of high school kids that were parked right beside me. I didn't even realize. I looked over and every one of them.
I've been doing this job a long time. And when you go on these international tours, you start to say, what's the weirdest show we can do? And at the time, this was before The Masked Singer was in the US. So it's they have this show called The Masked Singer, which is huge and stuff, because we're doing that show. We have to go do that show.
My relationship with my father, which was very complicated and difficult. My dad was a very I come from a middle class, kind of blue collar home, and my dad was just of that generation where it's just he was Clint Eastwood, less is more. Simple grunts is how he communicated.
Okay, gotcha.
I think people tell themselves stories, and this sort of comes back to your worldview that you just mentioned about.
And I'm really excited. But as I've gotten a little bit older, I'm lucky that I get to work in this industry, and particularly incredibly fortunate that I get to work in it this long. But I really want to work with people that are either immensely talented or people that I love and that I'm genuinely best friends with. And unfortunately, Hugh does not qualify as either of those. But I am excited because I'm a Logan fan. So and then that covers Will Ferrell as well. That's a guy that my entire life, I feel.
I didn't imagine that acting was a way to get out of the house. It wasn't really like a passion when I was a kid. It was something that I was already doing at home, to survive. So you kind of, I noticed when I was a kid, making people laugh was a great self-defense mechanism. It really helped me kind of navigate my way through my own home with my older brothers and my dad, and I could diffuse them by making them laugh.
It's
based on a beautiful, really important book, and it's about a young woman named Lily who confronts the generational cycles in her life and breaks them and ends the circle. And I hope people find it inspiring, and yet also, you know, it's a film about a heavy topic. It's about domestic violence.
Before we dive into the extraordinary details of lawsuits, leaked text messages, and shattered careers, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying these deep dives into Hollywood's wildest dramas. Seriously, every sub helps me stay caffeinated. Coffee is my lifeblood as I sift through Tinseltown's biggest scandals, the night everything collapsed. Picture this: a major awards show, sparkling lights, cameras zooming in on Hollywood's biggest names, and a comedian at the podium ready to roast anyone in her sights. Blake Lively, sitting confidently in the audience, presumably thought it would be a standard evening of polite applause and cringe-worthy jokes. But then Chelsea Handler, the night's host, took direct aim at Lively's ongoing battle with Justin Baldoni. Handler sarcastically thanked Lively and Baldoni for providing entertainment off-screen. She quipped that at least there wouldn't be a sequel to their drama, punctuating the joke with a knowing grin. In an instant, the room erupted in laughter. But Lively herself? She wasn't grinning. Whispers fluttered through the crowd that she looked visibly shaken, struggling to maintain composure. By the time the cameras stopped rolling, rumors circulated that she stormed out, too furious and embarrassed to keep up appearances. This single pointed jab wasn't just a cheap laugh at Lively's expense. It was the spark that exposed a much deeper rift, one involving allegations of misconduct, colossal lawsuits, and an intense scramble for public sympathy. Overnight, the glamorous actress who once charmed fans on red carpets found herself at the center of a swirling controversy, with a target on her back and an ever-shrinking list of Hollywood allies. Public takedown, private aftermath. If Lively hoped this mortifying incident would fade quietly, she was sorely mistaken. The very next day, at the Directors Guild Awards, director Judd Apatow took the stage and couldn't resist piling on. In a quip heard by everyone in the room, he joked that, usually to make that much money, you have to sue Blake Lively, alluding to the colossal sums involved in the dispute swirling around her. The audience's reaction? More laughter, sprinkled with a few gasps. By this point, it was clear. The industry's mood had shifted. Rather than rallying to Lively's side, Hollywood insiders seemed to chuckle at her predicament. Big names who might have publicly defended her in a typical Me Too-style situation stayed silent. Some even looked amused by her downfall. The press caught wind of this indifference and ran with it, painting a picture of an actress isolated in her own storm of allegations and counter-allegations. Lively, once championed for her poise and wit, was now a woman standing on shaky ground, wondering which blow might land next: the controversial lawsuit. To truly understand the ferocity of the backlash, we have to rewind to the genesis of the scandal. Blake Lively shocked Hollywood by filing a lawsuit against her It Ends With Us co-star, Justin Baldoni, accusing him of ash, the kind we can't say outright on YouTube, and other inappropriate behavior. She claimed Baldoni crossed lines on set, touching her in ways she insisted were unwelcome, and making remarks that put her on edge. According to her statements, she and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, confronted Baldoni, only to face retaliation. Her legal complaint described a methodical smear campaign against her, online trolls spreading rumors, suspicious social media attacks, and planted stories in the press. Lively wanted the world to believe she was the target of a powerful, vengeful director using every weapon at his disposal to crush her career. At first glance, many observers empathized with her. In an industry where stars often hide dark secrets, it was plausible that a beloved actor could turn out to be a villain behind closed doors. But then came Baldoni's explosive response, a massive countersuit that would blow the case wide open. A war of words and a $400 million countersuit. Far from rolling over, Justin Baldoni unleashed legal firepower of his own. In January 2025, he slapped Lively with a countersuit seeking an eye-watering $400 million in damages. He alleged that Lively and Reynolds had tried to commandeer his film to boost their own star power, and when the movie didn't become the smash success they'd hoped for, they turned him into their scapegoat. Baldoni's court filings revealed a narrative of an overbearing couple demanding creative control, editing privileges, and veto power on everything from casting choices to final cuts. He alleged that Lively felt threatened whenever she wasn't the sole center of attention. Beyond that, Baldoni's camp claimed she orchestrated a smear campaign to shift blame for the film's underperformance onto him. If her lawsuit read like a heroic tale of a victim standing up against wrongdoing, his version told a much different story, one of manipulation, ambition, and revenge. Leaked texts and damning evidence. What truly swung the pendulum in Baldoni's favor was the avalanche of evidence he released. Screen captures of texts, confidential emails, and even behind-the-scenes footage became public. One message dated April 2023 showed Lively telling Baldoni that playful, flirty dialogue was her love language. She wanted scenes to feel yummy, spicy, and playfully bold, never with teeth. Hardly the words of someone who felt traumatized or intimidated by her co-star. Additionally, Baldoni disclosed an exchange about hiring an intimacy coordinator. He told Lively he wanted to ensure everyone on set felt safe and comfortable, and she replied, "I feel good, thank you," even suggesting she'd meet the coordinator later with zero hesitation. These texts contradicted Lively's claims of fear and discomfort. They painted a picture of an actress who, at least in private, seemed perfectly fine with the production environment. Perhaps most jaw-dropping were messages between Ryan Reynolds and Baldoni. Reynolds expressed enthusiasm, calling Baldoni a brilliant collaborator. So how did he go from praising his colleague to labeling him a predator in Lively's legal documents? The gap between the cordial texts and the later allegations fueled doubts about Lively's entire story. Each piece of evidence released by Baldoni's team chipped away at her credibility, eroding the public sympathy she once enjoyed. Hollywood's reaction, laughter instead of support. Usually in a high-profile conflict between a famous actress and a director, Tinseltown lines up quickly to support the actress, especially if the claims involve personal boundaries or abuse. In this case, though, the reaction was eerily muted. Instead of condemnation for Baldoni, the industry collectively raised an eyebrow at Lively. Not a single major player, outside of a few friends, stepped forward to rally behind her. It wasn't just silence, it was also mockery. Apatow's joke at the Directors Guild Awards was a prime example, and Chelsea Handler's televised roast took that mockery to a global audience. Late-night hosts had a field day with Lively's predicament. She wasn't a brave whistleblower exposing wrongdoing. She was now the punchline to a running gag. Whether fair or not, public perception is heavily influenced by Hollywood's stance. And Hollywood had clearly decided it was safer to chuckle than to defend Blake Lively. The media frenzy and public perception. Once the industry's tone was set, media outlets followed suit. Reporters dug into the trove of leaked evidence, scouring it for any sign of wrongdoing by Baldoni. What they found didn't help Lively's case. Her text messages, emails, and even recorded footage failed to support her allegations. In fact, they often directly clashed with them. Fox News ran a headline suggesting the leaked messages expose alleged lies in Lively's story, while tabloids questioned if her lawsuit was simply a diversion from something else. Maybe dissatisfaction with how the movie turned out, or a personal vendetta she couldn't let go. Every news cycle brought fresh embarrassment. Instead of fighting for her in the court of public opinion, Lively's own lawyers spent time scrambling to request gag orders to stop Baldoni from posting more damning evidence. Onlookers found her moves suspicious, interpreting them as desperation to hide the truth. Meanwhile, Baldoni looked calm, collected, and, perhaps most importantly, factual. A late-night punchline and the tipping point. By the time Chelsea Handler fired off that joke on live TV, the stage was set for disaster. Those who had watched the story unfold felt they already knew the plot. Lively accused Baldoni, but the proof told a different tale. When Handler's barbs elicited roars of laughter, it signaled that the industry had formed a consensus. Blake Lively's story just didn't add up. No public demonstration of support, no tearful endorsements from co-stars, just jokes at her expense, fueled by an audience eager for comic relief. This moment became the final nail in the coffin. Suddenly, Lively was no longer the intrepid actress fighting wrongdoing. She was the butt of a joke, her narrative crumbling under cross-examination by text messages and insider testimonies. public sentiment hardened. If there was any lingering doubt about whether the industry believed her, that night confirmed it. They didn't. Blake Lively's uncertain future. In Hollywood, careers are built on perception as much as talent, and perception was no longer on Lively's side. Her image took hit after hit with every leaked text, every comedic takedown, and every news article questioning her credibility. Studios reportedly began rethinking upcoming projects she was attached to. Friends in high places who once jumped at the chance to be photographed with her maintained a conspicuous distance, wary of being dragged into a messy controversy. Justin Baldoni, on the other hand, emerged looking stronger than ever. Legal analysts noted that his willingness to share evidence publicly made him appear transparent and confident in his innocence. His family expressed unwavering support on social media, painting a picture of a man with a stable personal life and a resolve to clear his name. In a town that often forgives many sins if the popularity scales tilt in your favor, Baldoni ended up on the right side of public perception. So what's next for Blake Lively? Is there a path to redemption? Some argue that time heals all wounds, and Hollywood has seen plenty of comebacks from seemingly irredeemable stars. But at the moment, Lively's reputation stands on shaky ground. The humiliating jokes, the glaring evidence, and the reluctance of colleagues to back her up make for a difficult climb. Unless some undisclosed proof materializes to support her claims, it appears she's lost this round both in the court of public opinion and possibly, in time, the court of law. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is Blake Lively's career truly over? Or can she pull off a miraculous comeback in Hollywood's unpredictable landscape? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've made it to the end of this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Seriously, every sub helps me buy more coffee, and I need all the caffeine I can get to keep covering these dramatic twists in Tinseltown. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.